Welcome to Bangla City SATV News. This is Shibala Alam with our headlines. Foreign Minister sought stronger role from heads of Bangladesh mission abroad to boost trade and investment, asked Quality Services. Government will soon issue a directive ordering buses, trains and launches to carry passengers at half capacity, said Health Minister. Turkish Interior Minister Suleyman Soylu has arrived in Cox's Bazar to visit displaced Rohingyas from Myanmar. Foreign Minister Dr. A.K. Abdul Momen has sought a stronger role from the heads of Bangladesh missions abroad to boost trade and investment and improve the quality of services that the missions offer to expatriates. He also alerted the heads of mission about the Prime Minister's zero-tolerance policy to corruption and advised them to avoid any incident that may harm the reputation of the respective mission. In the extensive interactions, Dr. Momen said steps must be taken to improve the quality of services, increase investment flow to Bangladesh and boost Bangladesh's trade with the partner countries. Bangladesh missions abroad will have to work for finding new labor markets and create opportunities there for Bangladesh workers, he added. Turkish Interior Minister Suleyman Soylu visited Rohingya refugee camp in Okia Upazila of Cox's Bazar today. He was accompanied by a 20-member team. They went to Rohingya refugee camp in Okia directly from the airport by road and held a meeting with the refugees there. He returned in the afternoon after visiting different activities of field hospital run by Turkish government and different development organizations of the country. He is scheduled to return to Turkey tonight. Health Minister Zahid Malik said that the government will soon issue a directive ordering buses, trains and launches to carry passengers at half capacity. He said this while distributing winter clothes among the people at Shubro Center in Manikganj today. Malik said hygiene rules are being openly ignored at polling stations throughout the country and such disregard may put the country in grave danger. Mobile courts will be operated to enforce health guidelines. He also gave a heads up about some future restrictions in light of recent surge in COVID-19 cases in the country. RAB arrested 6 persons including Riyadh, the mastermind in the case of gang rape of 2 indigenous Garo girls in Haulaghat in Mymensingh today. RAB said the 2 girls studying at the school in Haulaghat. Police said they arrested 5 accused from different areas. The 2 girls were raped by a gang of youths when they were returning home from a wedding party. 2 persons died and at least 5 others were injured after a bus hit them near the toll plaza of Mayor Hani flyover in Dhaka's Gulshan this morning. Police said that primarily came to know that all the victims were pedestrians. A bus of Megla Poribohon hit them near the toll plaza, leaving 2 of the dead on the spot. Police seized the bus. 5 injured were rushed to Dhaka Medical College Hospital. Reports said possibly the driver lost control over the steering at the ramp of the flyover. Viewers are taking a short break. Stay with Bangla City SATV News. Welcome back. You're watching Bangla City SATV News. Now, news from abroad. A Georgia judge sentenced Travis McMichael and his father, Jogari McMichael, off Friday to life in prison without the possibility of parole for murder of Ahmad Arbari, a black man running through their possibly white neighborhood in the southern U.S. state. Judge also gave a life sentence to their neighbor, William Roddy Bryant, but ruled that he could seek parole after 30 years in prison, the minimum sentence allowed for murder under Georgia law. Judge said that gave McMichael the hardest sentence available in part because of the callous word and actions captured on a cell phone video where McMichael begins to lift his shotgun at Arbery while the 25-year-old is about 25 feet away. Director of the US CDC said the US could follow the ice pick-shaped curve of South Africa's surge of Omicron, meaning Omicron cases could fall just as quickly as they rose. A remark was from a media briefing on Friday. However, she warned that though it could be an ice pick shape, the variant could travel across the country as the US is much bigger than South Africa. Meanwhile, according to a Bloomberg report of the same day, experts hint that Omicron might be forerunner of the end of the epidemic phase, ushering its endemic phase. An Indian court rejected a bid to cancel a major Hindu festival despite fears of the vast gathering could spread coronavirus infection as the country sees Omicron-driven surge in cases. Hundreds of thousands of people are expected to attend the annual Ganga Sagar Mela festival, which begins today on an island where the river Ganges entered the Bay of Bengal. Kolkata-based Dr. Avinandan Mondal sought an order court to ban the festival over coronavirus concerns. Kazakhstan President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev rejected calls for talks with protesters after days of unprecedented unrest. Besides, he vowed to destroy armed bandits and authorizing his forces to shoot to kill without warning. The president said terrorists continue to damage property and use weapons against civilians. Reports said 748 security officers were wounded and 18 killed. However, protests spread across the nation of 19 million in outrage over a New Year increase in price for liquid petroleum gas. Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Sen met Myanmar's military ruler Min Aung Hlaing amid criticism of the first visit by a head of government since the army seized power. Hun Sen was greeted by the honor guard and red carpet when he arrived on Friday, just as protests by coup opponents broke out in other parts of the country over fears his trip will provide more legitimacy to the ruling junta. The Cambodian leader, he was making the visit to press a Myanmar peace plan sponsored by the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN. German car maker BMW has unveiled the world's first color-changing car at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. The concept car, it's called the BMW 9 Flow, uses electronic ink technology normally found in e-readers to transform the car's exterior into a variety of patterns in gray and white. BMW research engineer said this is really energy-efficient color change using the technology e-ink. When stimulated by electrical signals controlled by a phone app, the material brings different pigments to the surface, causing the car to take on a different shade or design, such as racing stripes. In the future, the changes will also be controlled by a button on the car's dashboard or perhaps even by hand gestures. No energy is needed to maintain the color the driver selects, according to BMW. A building housing a canteen in Chongqing in China's southeast has collapsed after explosion suspected to have been caused by a gas leak, killing at least 16 on Friday. Reports said 26 people had been taken from the site, 16 of whom have died. One person was in critical condition and the other injured people were also in hospital after being trapped in concrete following the explosion. The explosion took place while the people were having their lunch. Reports said the cause of the explosion is now being investigated. Sidney Poitier, the groundbreaking actor and enduring inspiration, has died. He was 94. He became the first black actor to win an Academy Award for Best Lead Performance. Poitier's rise mirrored profound changes in the country in the 1950s and 60s. As racial attitudes evolved during the civil rights era, Poitier was the performer to whom a cautious industry turned for stories of progress. With his handsome, flawless face, intense stare and disciplined style, he was for years not just the most popular black movie star, but the only one. North Korea has slammed the US-led diplomatic boycott of February's Beijing Winter Games yesterday, describing it as an insult to the Olympic spirit. Washington and some of their allies have announced diplomatic boycott, citing China's human rights record in a decision that licensed Beijing's North Korean Olympic and sports bodies criticized the boycott in a letter to their Chinese counterparts. The US and its vassal forces are getting even more undisguised in the moves against China aimed to preventing the successful opening of the Olympics. The letter said their moves are an insult to the spirit of International Olympic Charter. Novak Djokovic thanked his fans around the world on Friday in his first reaction since being sent to a detention hotel in Australia after his visa was cancelled. The world men's tennis #1 has appealed after being refused entry to the country over his vaccination status, ruled as incompatible with Australia's strict COVID-19 requirements. After being granted a medical exemption to play in the Australian Open later this month, the Australian Border Force rejected his exemption in invalid. A small group of protesters supporting Novak Djokovic waved flags and banners outside on Friday. Robert Lewandowski, Lionel Messi and Mohamed Salah were named on Friday as the 3 finalists for the FIFA Best Men's Player Award, while Ballon d'Or winner Alexia Putellas was nominated for the Women's Prize. Poland star Lewandowski won last year's FIFA award but had to settle for second in 2021 Ballon d'Or voting behind Messi, winner of the accolade for a record 7 times. The award ceremony will be held virtually from FIFA's headquarters in Zurich on January 17. Putellas' Barcelona teammate Jennifer Hermoso and Chelsea's Australian striker Sam Kerr are the finalists for the FIFA Best Women's Player Award. The trio were also top 3 vote getters for the Ballon d'Or. The winner will succeed England's Lucy Bronze, who took home the previous award. The Bangladesh Cricket Board yesterday announced the national women's T20 squad for the ICC Commonwealth Games qualifier in Malaysia. Bangladesh are among the 5 teams to fight to single spot to qualify for the 2022 Commonwealth Games, scheduled to be held in Birmingham from July this year. 7 teams, including host England, have already qualified for the Games, where women's 2020 cricket is one of the disciplines. Surprisingly, fast bowler Jahanara Alam has been dropped from the main squad for the qualifier. This is the first time he has been dropped from. The idea is that she has been dropped from the main team due to status given through social media a few days ago. The members of squad are Nigar Sultana Jyoti, who is the captain, Rumana Ahmed, Salma Khatun, Farjana Haq, Pinky, Shamima Sultana, Famima Khatun, Ritu Moni, Murshida Khatun, Nahida Akhtar, Sharmin Akhtar Shupta, Lata Mondol, Shobhana Mustari, Faria Islam Trishna, Sanjida Akhtar Magla, Suraya Azmin. Before ending, we go to the Euro-Bangla City SATV News headlines again. Foreign Minister sought stronger role for heads of Bangladesh missions abroad to boost trade and investment as quality service. Government will soon issue a directive ordering buses, trains and launches to carry passengers at half capacity, said Health Minister. Turkish Interior Minister Süleyman Soylu has arrived in Cox's Bazar to visit displaced Rohingyas from Myanmar. You're up to date so far here on Euro-Bangla City SATV News, and to know the latest news, visit www.satvtv. Stay with SATV.